Welcome back to another episode of I'm Not a Doctor, but my wife is, and she is not here. But I am joined today by Dr. Krishna Kannasan, a functional medicine practitioner at the Rosewood Clinic, our special guest. And we have a second special guest today, and I'm honoured to have you here, a patient at the Rosewood Clinic, Ferdinand Pereira. Thank you for being here today. Now, we have a very interesting topic today. We're talking about healthy lifestyles. Yeah. So give us a bit of a background, set the context for this discussion we're going to have today. I understand you're a relatively healthy man. How does this start?
I'm trying, right? so I think when you reach a certain age, right, for many men, I would say, for many of us, you either go buy a really fast car or a really fast motorbike, and you have that midlife crisis, if you will, right? I couldn't afford either, but I was like, what about if I look at my health instead? I've got 2 young kids. I want to be as healthy, as mobile, as the best version of me that I can be for my family. All right. So I think I started out on this journey of trying to biohack my life, if you will, right, and look at the improvements I can take on a daily basis, if you will, and to feel better, to perform better, to be better, if you will, and that's where this journey started, I suppose.
So just one last question from me. I'm very curious. How long have you been on this journey?
I'd say seriously about 2 years or so is when I sort of had that attraction to really start taking stock of where I am versus where I want to be and what I need to do to get there.
So, Ferdinand, you were born in Malaysia, right?
Yes, born and raised here, yes.
Yeah, okay. So you did travel to different countries.
I have had the privilege of traveling and living in a few different countries.
Yeah.
And but I mean, Malaysia is always home, so we always come back.
How would you compare living in France? Was it you said you stayed in France?
Yep.
And what would be the main differences basically from France and Malaysia in terms of lifestyle, food?
So it's not an apple to apple, I would say, because I was more in the countryside, perhaps in France, and at a certain point there were more cows than human beings where I lived, right?
Okay.
But as a function of that, you have really fresh air, you have the environment, you have a lot of greenery, which I think sort of puts you mentally in a much calmer state, right? Versus here, I live more in the city. I'm in a suburb, but it's a lot more things going on. There is a nice forest reserve next to where I live, one of the reasons why we live there in Taman Tun. But there's so many more things happening here in Malaysia, in KL. And so that already is a big paradigm shift, I think, right, with regard to living. With regard to food, I think the biggest difference we found is that in France, if I go to the markets, right, I meet the person who's selling me the meat or the vegetables are the ones that are growing it. So I get to get that sense of who they are, what they put into the soil, how they raise their livestock. When you have that conversation with them. Here, I think I'm a bit more removed because when I go to the supermarket here, they are not the ones who are raising it, who are selling it to us. So we don't get that conversations happening. So I think the quality is definitely something that I realized was a bit more was better in France. If you're looking for organic produce, it's also easier to source, and I would argue cheaper as well in France compared to here. You can find it in Malaysia, yes, but you'd be paying a bit more for it.
So you have adapted a kind of a 80-20 approach to your diet, right? You have come a little bit more plant-based. Do you want to tell us how and why you actually chose that direction?
For me, it was always about how do I get my gut to be in the best state possible? Because to me, the gut is like the epicenter of our beings. Right? And I think through this journey, I think one of the things we realized was that if we move towards more of a plant-based diet, you would see the benefits, in other aspects of your life. And it just so happened, I think, as well, that we were also considering as a family to do that.
I see.
It's not the easiest thing to do because I've always been carnivore, if you will, right? But I think as I got older, I also started thinking of how do I make more healthy food decisions, right? It's easy because the whole family is now part of it.
Exactly.
So you have that support system.
So you're saying the shift hasn't been too difficult for you?
No, for me personally, it's not been too difficult. Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel that eating clean, eating healthy is hard, especially in Malaysia, because Malaysia is known to be food haven, right?
Yeah.
So for you, it has not been that hard. It has been a little bit, but a lot of work went into it, right? To plan it.
Yeah.
How do you feel after making the change? How do you feel?
I feel good.
You feel good, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
that's good.
Yeah.
And other than changing your diet, what are the other things that you have done with yourself?
Again, my biggest inspiration, I think, are the two, my kids, right? And I look at them, and my son's 8, my daughter's 4, and they've got a long life ahead of them. I hope to be there for as long as I can be.
Yes, of
right?
course. Yeah.
With them, but I think I've looked at the way I feed myself. I've complemented that with my own fitness goals that I have, and that sort of, I suppose, made it a bit more all-rounded, And I try to get at least about 10,000 steps in a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
start my day with a walk, and I think that just it clears my mind and helps me set how the day is going to happen for me.
You sound very disciplined.
I mean, I think we have to be,
having a routine
right.
is actually very good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we start, basically getting our life, sorted out.
Yeah.
And making sure we get to do the things that we want to do, and How about in terms of relaxation? What do you do?
Oddly enough, I am most relaxed when I'm working out.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just me and what's in front of me. Right? It's just me and the weight that I have to lift or moved. It's just me and the kilometers I have to run or cycle, right? And that's when my mind is blank, really. And I'm not thinking of anything, or really relaxed after a session. I'm tired, sure, physically tired, sure. But I'm also like, that was good.
I mean, endorphins.
Yeah. Exactly.
Endorphins are the reason,
firing,
right?
and
exactly,
and I'm like, that's good. When I don't start my day with a walk, then sometimes I feel like, there's something missing.
So in regards to your friends and your close connections, how would you feel about talking about your lifestyle to them? Is this something that you can openly talk to them? Are they receptive towards it? A lot of Malaysians are getting into lifestyle, diet, and in fact, plant-based food has actually picked up in Malaysia.
Yeah.
But how is it when you travel or when you go out with your friends and all? Is it a problem that if you have to choose food, or do you find there's limitations?
When I speak to my friends, for example, a lot of them are also on this journey. They may not be moving towards plant-based. They may not see their diet as a source of concern that they're working on immediately. But they understand where I'm coming from. They understand why I'm doing it. They understand why it works for me, right? So they're very supportive of it. And more often than not, they'll be like, look, if you want to have something more plant-based, why don't you pick the restaurant?
Yeah.
Right? And we are happy to support that.
That's great, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My family's the same as well. Like my mom would change recipes just to accommodate us if she's going to cook something.
Yeah.
The F&B industry in Malaysia, I think we are primarily meat-eating society. Right, so because of that, the options are a bit lesser maybe. But if we get to choose, then we know where we can go, to get more options. Could there be more options on the menu? There always could be, I think. I mean, that definitely, we could use more variety. We could use more seasonal stuff, I think. Like, I don't think we see enough of Malaysian seasonal vegetables on our menus.
Yeah, you're right, actually, yeah.
And
I also noticed in Malaysia, when you say vegetarian, it's more... it's carb related, right? It's more noodles. It's like vegetarian fried rice, vegetarian pasta, vegetarian noodles. You don't really see vegetables.
Exactly.
Right? And salads.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that we could improve on, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you go, for example, to a Chap Fan restaurant and you look at the spread of vegetables they have, and you're like, okay, now I've got options. But if you're looking for it to come to you in a plate directly, besides the typical salads, you don't really have that much of a variety, So could we maybe improve in that area? Sure, I think we definitely could. I think we've got enough brilliant chefs in this country that we can. Yeah,
we do, and we also come with a multi-cuisine culture and background, right?
Exactly, absolutely.
So it can be done.
I think if there's one thing I maybe want to share is have a baseline of where you are currently with your gut health, with your gut microbiomes, for example. Understand if there's anything you need to do to perhaps get it in a better state. And if so, then start the journey. Many, I think, do not realize that they need to. I think maybe that's where the education needs to come in. For example, many of us go for blood tests, right? Yeah. We do it once a year, sometimes twice a year. I think similarly, there needs to come a point in time where you're also looking at a gut test, if you will, to check and make sure that your gut's functioning in its best state with all the prebiotics, probiotics, and the good bacteria that you need. And if not, then what do I need to do to help it?
Ferdinand, I've got a question for you, right?
Sure.
Why does a healthy male specimen like yourself even come to the Rosewood Clinic?
Health is relative, I'd say, right? Okay, I mean, yeah, if a random person looks at me on the street, they'd probably say, yeah, he's healthy-looking chap, I think when you're on a quest to be the best you can be, there's always things you can tweak. And sometimes my knowledge is limited to what I know. There's a lot more that I don't know. And that's why I go to the experts. That's why I stepped into the Rosewood Clinic, speak to you guys to understand, look, if I want my gut performing in its best possible state, what do I have to do, right? Do I have to supplement it with something? Do I have to change my diet, for example? So that's the part where I think I needed help with. And that's why I came to see you guys and subsequently started this journey.
You picked up on something interesting, which I'll bring up and talk about in a minute. But one interesting thing, which I'd love to know your take on as well. How important is it to have a supportive partner on this journey?
Ay. Okay. Look, I'm blessed beyond measure, to be honest. She chose me, and I'm thankful for that every day. But she's been on this with me from day one. It's also something that she had already, I think, started, perhaps not as consciously as I would have, as a discussion we would have had. Subconsciously, we were already sort of moving towards being a bit more plant-based. And then after I had my consultation with Dr. Krish, and I went back and we had a chat, and she's like, yeah, let's do it. I agree with it. I support it. Kids be fine with it. They're at that age where they're a bit more pliable with things that, we can feed them and things that they want to try.
It's a good age to start, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like, let's just give it a go and see what happens.
Now, you probably know that ChatGPT is launching ChatGPT Health. Mm-hmm. It's been beta tested at the moment. Mm-hmm. We don't exactly know when it will be out. Mm-hmm. But how do you, and this is to open to both of you, how do you both feel this will change the face of the way the public interact, understand, consume data, and then, of course, their relationship with the medical fraternity?
Well, it's going to be challenging for us, of course. Yeah, patients are going to come in. I remember recently I had a patient saying, actually, doctor, what you're saying is correct. ChatGPT also said the similar thing. So I said, wow, lucky for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So are they looking for validation?
They are looking for validation. And also, in a way, to be honest, it also helps us because the information is already out there. And they're not hearing it for the first time from us. Yeah. And because ChatGPT has a very, wide perspective in terms of giving the answer or the response to the question, few possibilities as well. Patients actually go through those possibilities with us. And us as doctors going forward, we also need to keep in touch with ChatGPT to make sure what's out there.
Sure.
We have to be in touch with it as well. And it's impossible for us doctors to actually read every journal, read every publication. It's impossible. So I think ChatGPT is also going to help us. At the same time, keeping us on our feet, but, help us. Yeah. Why not?
Ferdinand, what are your thoughts?
I think I have a slightly different take on it. So they've actually already used it for us, used Gen AI in a health-related manner. What they used to do is they used to take photos of their eyes, upload it onto a Gen AI application, and they were able to tell them, your eyes look a bit yellow today, you're probably lacking this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. And they were able to track progress from that, right? So they've used it, they've tested it basically in different manners.
Oh, this is the diagnostic aspect,
correct,
right?
Exactly. But what I think, however, is that, you see, no two of us are alike. No two of us have got the same medical history, life history, things we do, things we like, things we see, right? That nuance is not available to a Gen AI application.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It gives you information that it collates from sources that have been fed to it that is more general in nature. Can I tailor that now to specifically fit me? Unless you fed the Gen AI tool with everything, with your medical history from the time you were potentially born till where you are now, then it can probably match it or apply it towards you on a particular use case basis. But otherwise, what you're getting is general information.
Got it. When you come into the clinic, you spend an hour with the doctor.
Yes.
Deep dive in.
Absolutely.
We call it discovery consultation.
Yeah.
And the reason we do this, and some clinics do it for half an hour, we choose to do it an hour because, and it's a deep dive. But the reason we do it is we get to understand you.
Yes.
Now, unless you record that, feed that into ChatGPT, I guess that's potentially one of the elements which is missing from the equation.
It is. But then my question to you would be, is that how comfortable are you with the information of yourself being uploaded onto a Gen AI platform? If you are, then sure, fine, right? But if you're not, then I still think you need that human touch as you go on this journey, right? It's a similar thing for how I look at it. Look, we can very easily renew our road tax in Malaysia online. You don't need a human being around it. But I still go back to my agent each and every time because he consults me on, look, you can remove these options.
You can add
and
this.
lower it on. But you should add these options because it's going to help you protect the car against these other variables. I don't get that if I just went to an online platform and asked them to renew my insurance. There's a lot of things I think when in conversation with Dr. Krish, she was able to prod me for me to then explain deeper or to go deeper, right? And then there might be something underlying there that could probably help with whatever I needed help with.
Something maybe you forgot to mention.
Exactly.
She does a bit of a deeper dive.
It's very personalized, right?
Exactly.
It's exactly what we're looking for, yeah.
And nothing that I know right now exists with generative AI that can do that just yet.
Just yet.
Just yet.
Where we're going, no one knows.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But no, but it's an interest. It's a fascinating subject, and we must do this as a separate discussion as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a very interesting question. I'm picking up on something you mentioned earlier on, which was golden.
Okay.
You mentioned the word McDonald's.
Right.
And you mentioned the word McDonald's in a context which my generation, our generation, I feel truly understands.
Yeah.
You mentioned about McDonald's being a treat.
Mm-hmm.
Is that were we in a generation where McDonald's was a treat? Because for me, it was a golden treat.
Oh, yeah?
Those golden arches were something special when my mum and dad took me there.
Yeah.
I don't know where we are today, but what's your take on this?
When I was growing up, my parents could afford to take us there once a month, maybe twice a month if you were lucky. Earning parity was not the same as it is today, right? So for us, it was always a treat. Like we would wait towards payday. So it was there once a month, you know. Today, with parents earning more, potentially, and the ease at which we get access.
Those drive-thrus.
I pick up my phone. Forget the drive-thru.
Oh, yeah,
I pick up my
course.
phone. I tap a few things. It's delivered to my gate.
Scary.
When I was a kid, we had to make a conscious decision to get in the car, drive, park the car, get down, go eat in the restaurant.
It was also, now you just mentioned that, get out of the car, get in the car, drive there, get out of it. I ate at home. When I grew up, we didn't eat out.
Yeah,
We didn't eat out at all.
absolutely.
One, in England, it was very expensive. Secondly, it was a special treat. I guess for my mum and dad, when I think back at it as well, McDonald's was probably maybe a little bit cheaper than us going out to a proper restaurant as well. And also it looked like a treat.
No, it's the same for me. When I was growing up, we always ate at home. My mom always cooked, so we always ate at home.
Yeah.
We used to go out to eat for treats, right? And it was always very exciting to go out and eat because you eat something out of the usual, right? Out of the normal.
Yeah.
And us being Indians, at home was always Indian food, so when we go out, we eat other things. So I remember when the first McDonald's came up in my neighborhood, we all wanted to try, and we were disappointed when the Big Mac was beef, right?
Yes.
I mean, being Hindus, we don't eat beef, so we were like, oh, so we can't eat that,
Yeah.
So we just settled for the fish burger and the chicken burger. But at that time, when I was growing up, processed food was not so common, right? And it was okay to have that occasional burger.
Yeah.
But now, processed food is so common. It's like everywhere. And so much so that I bring up my kids today and I have told them no fast food.
Yeah.
Of course, when I'm not watching, it's a different story.
Of course.
I mean, they being kids being kids, I say it's okay. Once in a way, it's fine,
Yeah.
But I think I read somewhere that their burgers have the highest iron content, their beef burgers. apparently.
Really?
So if you're anemic, you should have one.
Really?
You know? I mean, they're trying to make it as healthy. But end of the day, it's still processed food. And it's got too much salt.
I think it's blown off the carcass.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't go down that avenue. But there's nothing good there. As my dad used to say,
No,
we're going
it's
to edit this
nothing
bit.
good.
Lips
Yeah.
and assholes. That's basically what's in the burgers.
Yes.
Let's not think about it. But at the end of the day, it's still very, very enticing. Because,
Of course.
you mix up that sugar and the salt
It's
in there
fast,
as well.
it's
Processed
tasty.
food.
Yeah, that's the two big things. It's fast and it's tasty.
Yeah.
So,
and
it's
many
like-
would argue that they still have the best French fries. I would probably argue for them having some of the best French fries, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
And I just watched a program the other day about the Burbank potato. I think it's called the Burbank, a very specific potato. Only comes from America, I think, as well. And McDonald's, a very specific, no blemishes on this potato. But to get it like that,
Absolutely.
the amount of fertilizer and
Exactly.
pesticides and
Yes.
whatever they're
Exactly.
doing on it as well,
Yeah.
The
because they're only
footprint.
perfect.
Yeah. The
You know?
footprint for that. Yeah, exactly.
That's another story. But last question I just want to introduce here as well. Dr. Beatrice is our lifestyle medicine physician at the clinic, and she introduced recently, and she does it in her practice, and she's introducing it with the doctors as well, something called a lifestyle prescription, which is like how we do in the clinic, which is traditional prescription. But what we realized is if it's written down and given it's kind of an order. We can't make you do anything at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's more like this is how serious we are. Because when we talk about lifestyle medicine, which has now become one of the foundational elements in the clinic, and we've struggled over the years, honestly, for people to take it seriously. Exercise, diet, nutrition, stress reduction, sleep. You can say everything. You can give pamphlets and flyers on it as well.
Yeah.
But really, unless it's taken seriously, it doesn't matter. Anything to do with hormones or gut, it makes no difference.
Absolutely.
You've got to get the foundation right.
Yeah.
What do you think the idea of a lifestyle prescription? Do you think it's got legs, Ferdinand?
I think it depends, right? For someone who's invested in their health and took the step to walk into the Rosewood Clinic, they probably would be, I think, maybe a bit more disciplined with carrying on the practice that they've started. But also, on that same vein, there are some others, rightly like you said, that sort of need it in front of them. I have to do A, B, C, D, E today. And that's good because that removes any confusion, that removes any ambiguity. As long as I do A, B, C, D, E for today, I'm done, right? And I continue doing this for the rest of my days. It is going to apply to some. It is going to make life easier for some because you remove the notion for them to think, to consider, to do it versus just following the instructions. Whereas for the others, I think if they're a bit more disciplined with what they're doing, they are going to have their own journey of discovery. They're going to look at, again, biohacking to be the best version they can be. So there is, I think, definitely a room for it to exist for certain people.
Yeah. No two people are alike.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much indeed, Dr. Chris. Fantastic. I really appreciate you being here. Ferdinand, thank you so much for sharing everything about your current lifestyle
You're welcome.
and the healthy journey you're on as well. And we look forward to hearing more stories about how it continues over the coming years.
Thank you.
My name's Greg Parker. This has
Thank you,
been,
Ferdinand.
I'm not a doctor, but my wife is. She is not here. Thank you so much indeed.